What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a long time since I posted the last video, but I'm back now. And the reason I'm back is because seeing a lot of you go through a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in these current market conditions where most altcoins are down about 50% to about 70% from their recent highs. And I can understand why you may be fearful, why you may be confused. Perhaps you're even doubting the possibility that this crypto bull run is going to make you money. Now, if you're one of the people that joined this cycle in the last few months, then welcome to your first taste of crypto. You are now going through what I like to call a rite of passage for everyone involved in crypto, which is a dip. Believe it or not, it happens more often in a crypto bull market than you expect. Just in the last bull run alone, it happened about 8 times. And in the previous bull run, it happened about 14 or 15 times. So it gets less as more and more money comes into the market, but still, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect around 4 or 5 major dips even during this bull market, especially considering the fact that we are very likely to see a super cycle this time around. I'm going to discuss that a little bit later, but for now, I'm back. I will continue to be sharing my thoughts on the market. I'm going to be sharing it a lot more often, and just like in the good old days, and the goal is to help you guys make life-changing money this bull run. Now, some of my calls are going to be wrong, but some of them are going to make you money. As long as you're cool with that, then welcome back to the channel. Let's get into the stuff that you came here looking for. So, thoughts on the market. We're going to start off with Bitcoin, just talking about the general state of the market, and then I'm going to get into how I would play the current market conditions at the moment. So, first of all, everything in the entire crypto market right now are down about, again, 50 to 70% from their recent highs. Everything except for Bitcoin. I'm just going to pull up literally a random chart. It's about 63% or 64% down over the last month. Now, this is actually a generational opportunity, especially for the people that came late into this cycle. This is something that you should have been waiting for, and right now you're getting it. I'm going to explain why and what to do in these current situations, because it's not as simple as just, buy the dip. So in order to answer that question, we need to first understand the state of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has literally just been trading between this range high and this range low. Now, previously I predicted this to the members that joined the Bull Run Masterclass. I literally called this out live, and it happened exactly as planned. But right now, it has swept the range high again, and right now you're at range lows. So there are only 2 possibilities that price takes to play out here. I mean, obviously, it's either going to be a dump or a pump, but I do think one of them is more likely to happen, and I have an exact game plan on what I'm doing here and these current market conditions that hopefully might make you some money as well. So looking at scenario 1 is that once range lows have been taken, this is just going to be another situation that leads to targeting range highs and beyond. So this scenario 1 leads to a new all-time high, and this will match the narrative that we just went through a pre-halving sort of consolidation. Now, usually in every single halving that we've had before this, price actually tends to dump instead of go into a consolidation. But the fact that we're seeing a dump, a major dump in fact, across the entire altcoin market leads me to believe that, it is already priced in. We did have our pre-halving dump. It just didn't happen on Bitcoin, because this cycle is a lot more different than all the other cycles that we've had before this. For example, in previous cycles, every single Bitcoin new all-time high that comes in a bull market tends to happen, only happens after the halving and not before. So clearly we're playing in different territories right now. A lot of the principles might still be the same, but the way that they're playing out is drastically different. So we cannot just take old theories and old scenarios and just treat them as, historical data and expect price to follow history step by step. That's not how the markets work. In fact, that's not how the world works. Throughout every event in history, there are common themes, there are common principles, but the way they play out, as well as the order that they play out in, tends to vary by a bit. A lot of people would say that whatever we're seeing happening in America at the moment is very reminiscent to the period where the Roman Empire fell. Similarities? Yes. Order of things playing out, very different. Same thing here. In fact, in crypto, it is even more dangerous to take something historical and just treat it as hard cold data, simply because of the fact that we have had such a small sample size in terms of crypto. Mind you, I want to remind you that Bitcoin is not even 20 years old, and in the world of finance, especially when you match it up with traditional finance, Bitcoin's pretty much a baby in these markets. So, but even then, there are some hints that we can take from history that will guide us in the right direction. The first of which is a pre-halving dump and then a post-halving pump. Now, this is how it usually usually tends to happen across every single bull market in the past. So this time could be the same. I know a lot of people here are really anticipating, a dump again, but honestly, it doesn't really matter because I've got a game plan to play, either scenario. I'm going to tell you about that right now. Now, before I tell you exactly what I'm doing in this current scenario, I do want to take a moment to discuss scenario number 2. Scenario number 2, the reason why I've drawn this line here at about 51,000 is because this is a key liquidity level on the daily chart. Now, if you want to look at lower liquidity levels, you would be looking all the way down to 40k. Do I expect Bitcoin to go all the way down to 40k? I don't think it's going to happen, especially if we are to remain inside a bull market. Now, if we are now already topped out and price is going to go into bear market territories, then absolutely, 40k is really much expected. In fact, it would not be reasonable for Bitcoin to come back to retest 36k or even 25k. But a lot of skill in crypto or even just analyzing charts comes in the form of being able to identify what kind of timeline and what kind of scale you're playing with. Sure, Bitcoin might eventually return back to 40k, but that might happen in a period of about 1.5, maybe 2 years. Definitely not something that we're looking for in the immediate short term or even the immediate medium term, which is what we're trying to do here. And in this case, it would not be unreasonable, right, for Bitcoin to go through a 30% retracement. Now, this happened exactly 8 times in the last bull market where Bitcoin went through a retracement of more than 30%. Now, would it be unreasonable for that to happen this time around? Absolutely not. So we cannot rule this out. So in the event that Bitcoin does go down to, around 51k, I would presume that that would be very close to the bottom. Now, I'm telling you this information not to teach you how to catch bottoms. One of my favorite sayings in all of trading is that bottom pickers and top pickers tend to end up as cotton pickers, because think about it. The fact that you caught a bottom means that, number one, you were extremely lucky because you beat out literally tens of thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands of other people in getting that position. But number two, you will definitely get burned trying to catch the falling knives the way down. So this is not something that you want to do. The best way, and I know you might hear this across other crypto channels, but I'm telling you again, the best thing to do in any trading scenario is to wait for the trend to start reversing, right? To really start giving you the signs that it's reversing before you enter into the trade and catch the pump. There is no such thing as being too late. The market at any given point is only either in an uptrend, a downtrend, or it's in a range. And in every scenario, as long as it's within an uptrend, as long as it's still starting an uptrend, literally get in at any point, buy high, and then sell higher. That is how it works in crypto. If you truly do not want to lose all your money, avoid buying falling knives. It's just a really bad idea. The reason why I expect the bottom to come around this area is because if you draw this pump, if we use this movement here, our macro movement, which is true, right? Bitcoin almost doubled at this point onwards. You can see that if we were to draw a fib from low to high, this is the golden pocket right here. And I have exact step-by-step criteria that I use to enter. This is a part of framework number 1, where for Bitcoin, I want to look for a liquidity point exactly 15 to 30% from its most recent high or its most recent major high. And framework number 1 basically goes like this. I first want to identify a retracement period of between 15% to 30%. And within that 15 to 30% retracement, I want to look for a liquidity point on the daily chart. Now, this is a liquidity point right here, which ended up being the right play, right? This was framework number 1 playing out exactly as I had expected. And this is how framework number 1 will also play out here, because this is about a 30% retracement, the liquidity area, and bonus points if you can find points of confluence in terms of, for example, a fib, and this lining up with exactly the golden pocket. That's the reason why I believe that will be the bottom, but does it matter? Absolutely not, because right now I'm going to tell you my plan on how to navigate both situations so that you don't have to think. You simply trade the market as it is, and it is also one of my favorite sayings, to trade the market as it is, not as you hope for it to be or as you fear it might become. Whatever the market is doing right now is whatever you're presented with. Act purely based on that. Don't act out of hope or fear or greed. Just trade the market as it is. And at the moment, the market as it is fits into all 3 of my frameworks. And so now we're going to get into the game plan on how to execute based on present moment. Now, just to give you an idea of what I mean by the frameworks, this is framework number 1, which involves a liquidity sweep. And this is framework number 2, which is what I'm mostly using during this current moment, which is simply a retracement. Now, you can actually learn this and literally copy paste my exact step-by-step system with everything laid out. Like, it is going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to execute this type of system with the exact kind of risk management. You also gain access to my coin picks, not just mine, but also my 2 other coaches who are elite at what they do. And basically, we just take the guesswork out of making money during this bull run. You don't have to think about what coins are the best to buy, where to buy them, how to buy them, how do you take profit, how do you come up with an exit strategy and ensure that you take profit and not just ride everything up and ride everything back down and have zero free capital to buy the dip. If you're serious about making money this this bull run. This group is going to be well worth the investment. I'm not going to talk too much about this because you can see for yourself, because you can try this group out for a very small cost, and I'd suggest you do it. And if you're interested, this is going to make you money. But if you're not, hey, get back into the video. Now we're going to talk about framework number 3 first, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Super simple. It's literally low to high on the 1 hourly chart. Now look for the most recent low, recent major high on the 1 hourly chart, draw a fib, and within the golden pocket, you want to look for some kind of liquidity point, and that is going to be your entry criteria. So right now, as it is, almost every single major altcoin you'll see has this exact same pattern, and this is where I am entering, because simply put, this fits every single criteria that is a part of my system. Not only is the entire crypto market right now down either 30, 50, or even 70%, which is a part of the criteria I have for framework number 1, and number 2, within framework number 3, like all the criteria adds up. And this is something that I've been working on over the last 3 months, that I've disappeared from YouTube basically, just coming up with the simplest strategy that you can apply to make money in crypto that even beginners can use. And I'd say I have pretty much perfected this into an art form by this point. But what I meant to say was that in trading, you want to remove as much thinking as you possibly can. You don't want to think about what to do in every single scenario. Trading is a lot about systems, where the more you systematize everything, you just have to follow the system. It doesn't matter what the market's going to do next. It doesn't matter what the market is doing right now. As long as things fit your system, you simply execute, knowing that this system is going to be profitable over the long run. And this is the exact system that I've been using for about 4.5 years to make some insane money in crypto. So right now, my system telling me to do exactly this, and so I'm doing this. It's not much to think about. And you can apply this to literally any single coin out there that you can think of. Literally just pull low to high. And right here, 705, boom, right, you're bouncing. So this is framework number 3 that you can apply. You can apply this on every single coin. Hopefully by the time this video gets out, you're not going to be too late into getting on these coins. But remember, the market starts breaking new highs, for example, you are not too late. In fact, you want this to happen, because if the market starts shifting the market structure to break new highs, you know that the market's going back into an uptrend, and that's a good thing. As long as the market is within an uptrend, you literally just buy. Now, think back to the last, I'd say about 3 months. What did you do that made you an insane amount of money? You probably just bought. It doesn't matter how much it dipped, as long as you bought and you didn't try to short it, you've made some insane amount of money. Everyone, this is a very famous saying, crypto, everyone's a genius in a bull run. And it's true. You want an uptrend to happen. Once it happens, literally just trade the market as it is, not what you think it should be. This thing's overinflated, price shouldn't be this high. Look, it doesn't matter. It's a bull market. It's irrational. You shouldn't try to apply rational logic into it. Just trade it as it is. If it's in an uptrend, literally just trade it as it goes up. And now let's get into just framework number 2, I guess, so that you are more than well prepared for any scenario that gets thrown your way. Scenario number 2 is looking for some kind of liquidity point on the 1 hourly chart. And then specifically, you want to be looking for sell side liquidity, because right now you're in a bull market. You're supposed to be buying, not selling. And once the liquidity gets taken out and you see some kind of strong move towards the upside, just get in and ride the wave. Now you can apply this to coins that are not particularly performing as strong. For example, TIA would be a pretty good example. So now potentially, once this liquidity point gets taken out, which should happen pretty soon, you would buy this and perhaps set your take profit, somewhere around here. And that would be a pretty good risk to reward trade. So most coins are either going to just have some kind of retracement that you can get into, or some kind of liquidity sweep that you can get into before the eventual pump. And given the fact that, again, the entire market right now is down between 50 to 70%, leads me to believe that the dump is over. There's not really much reason for price to, continue going down. Even if it were to continue going down from here, you are literally just whatever that we discussed in this video is just going to happen, maybe 2, 4, 6, or maybe even 8 weeks later. And at the end of the day, we're literally just applying the exact same logic. But then now the question is, it can be hard to determine what coins to buy in the first place. I'm going to walk you through a piece of writing that I did yesterday for members in the AOC Alpha group, which I discussed earlier. By the way, this is where you also get access to all of my coin picks, so that you never have to wonder what coins are the best, which ones will give you the highest potential ROI. But I will still talk you through how to choose coins. The long story short is that you don't want to have too many positions at the same time, but you also don't want to have too little. So the sweet spot would be between 10 to 15. And the way that you come up with this is that you pick about 5 to 6 different narratives that you're either interested in, or just narratives that are performing well during this bull run. And then within those narratives, you categorize them on alpha narratives and beta narratives. For example, so what is an alpha narrative? It's just basically either, as long as it fulfills 2 out of 3 of these conditions, you're in good hands. So it can either be one of the leading narratives so far during this bull run, which number 1 is memes, number 2 is AI, and number 3 is real world assets. Now, it would have changed by now, but that is around the best narratives that you should be looking into that fits criteria number 1 for being an alpha narrative. Number 2 is it should fit into your zone of expertise or zone of interest. Is it something that you're really good at, or is it something that you're super interested in? For example, for me in the last bull run, even though DeFi was popping off everywhere, everyone's talking about DeFi, yield, whatever, I didn't really invest into DeFi. I invested a lot into gaming because it's within my zone of interest. I'm super interested in gaming, always have been. Nowadays, I don't really play as many games because I don't really have the time. I would love to play games. And zone of expertise, like I'm really good at this because I'm so interested at it. So I'm sure you have certain narratives that either just come really easily to you, or just narratives that you're good at, or just narratives that you're interested in, and that falls under your alpha narrative. And the third one is just, you're almost certain that this will do well during this bull run. For example, crypto gaming will almost certainly do well this bull run. All it takes is the retail masses to come back and boom, crypto gaming is going to pop off, because it's just so easy for the masses to stand behind a narrative such as you don't have to work. You can just get paid by, playing games. And then you have your beta narratives. Narratives that potentially hasn't popped off yet, but has insane potential if you position yourselves into the right place, in the right coins. Okay, that's a very important part early. And it might not be something that you understand well yet, but you're open to learning more about it. And it hasn't proved itself to be the best narrative so far, but it has the potential to be. And this is oftentimes something that is smaller in market cap, has the potential to grow a lot. But that falls under beta narrative. So a good balance would be to have around 3 to 4 alpha narratives and perhaps 2 to 3 beta narratives, right? Depending on your risk tolerance. And then amongst the alpha and beta narratives, having an alpha and beta play. An alpha play is, again, something that has bigger market cap, something that's already grown a lot. You're not going to get a 10x out of it, but you're 100% certain you're going to get a clean, easy 2 to 3 or maybe even 5x out of it. And the good thing about an alpha play is that you can throw a lot of money behind it. And then you have your beta plays, which is a smaller market cap coin within the same narrative that has a lot more upside potential, but could also just do nothing because it doesn't generate enough hype, or it's just risky. Maybe you might get rug pulled or something, but the potential for upside is insane. Now, when you combine having 5 narratives and having alpha and beta plays for each 5 narratives, you end up with about 10 to 15 at the end of it. And you're going to have a really good balance of spreading yourself out so that you capture the majority of the good narratives throughout this bull run, but not spreading yourself out too thin and getting just lost in the sea of 20, 30 different coins that you're holding, and ending up not even knowing why or how those coins ended up in your portfolio in the first place. Stuff like this, like choosing coins to buy into when you are faced with an abundance of options, stuff like that trading strategy, stuff like even finding the good information in the first place, stuff like this, just in-depth answers into questions that you normally have during a bull run, as well as just, again, getting access to my step-by-step trading strategy that you can copy and paste and start applying immediately to start making money throughout this bull run, getting access to my exact coin picks, as well as my advice on how you should navigate any market condition, as well as just get access to all the trade ideas that me and my team are sharing. The AOC Alpha Group is going to be a no-brainer. You can try it out for not a lot of money, but we're very certain that you're going to make back your investment pretty fast, because it's the whole point of an Alpha Group in the first place. If you want more information about the AOC Alpha Group, you can find the link in the description box below. And hopefully everything that I've talked about covers everything that you need to know on how to navigate current market conditions. But before I end this video, I just wanted to leave you off with one last piece of advice that will potentially make you 10x your money over the course of the next 3 to 6 months. And that piece of advice is that if you have no need to sell your assets at the moment, you shouldn't, because selling right here will be like selling the low or potentially getting liquidated. And especially if you are at a loss right now, this is the worst time to sell. And I know it's common sense for me to say this, but it's true. One thing that we're certain is that every bull run, or rather every 50 to 70% retracement within a bull run, is going to lead to 10x or even 20x higher highs. Or even if you don't get 10 or 20x, you will still get at least a 3 to 5x. And if whatever positions you're holding to right now goes 3 to 5x from its current point, you will definitely be in a profit. As long as you're not desperate enough to need the money right now, all you'll be doing is panic selling your assets to people that have stronger hands than you and have higher conviction than you. Again, just don't make the stupid mistake of getting flooded out here, because whatever dump's already done. You should have taken your profit a couple months ago or even a month ago. It's too late now for you to liquidate your assets, and doing so will be a stupid thing that you will come to regret even just 6 months down the line. So don't do it. Anyways, this video is dragged on long enough. Hopefully you guys have acquired some valuable information here, and I'm happy to be back. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Trade safe, and may the gains be with you. Bye bye.